Hello, fellow students. We're looking at the fifth puzzle now on how to improve your bishop in a position. And here we have a bunch of candidate moves or a bunch of ideas on how we could improve our bishop. But which one is the most active and the most long-term square for your bishop? Okay, so let's see. First of all, maybe you probably think that maybe bishop g5 is a good square for the bishop, but unfortunately, the idea of this move is, I think white is trying to take advantage of black's cramped position, and maybe he's intending of playing bishop takes f6 and later on followed by knight d5. But really, if that's the case, I don't think white is going to be able to create any progress, because, for instance, black just simply moves rook f8. If bishop takes f6 happens, bishop takes f6, and if queen d3 is played, black could simply chop off the knight on c3, so it's not going to be possible. Also, if anything, let's say, for instance, instead of taking on f6, white simply plays queen d3. It's not really obvious on why white is aiming for the d5 square. Maybe it's possible for black to just simply play knight h5, trying to trade off his bad bishop for white's good one. And if trades happen, eventually, or sorry, not rook e8, but maybe even this move is possible. And eventually black will challenge the knight on d5 by returning the knight on h5 to f6. And trades will happen. Black just simply gets rid of his bad pieces in his, and when you have a cramped position, exchanging is good, because just what this illustration is showing, black has more space for his pieces to operate. Okay, so bishop g5 is not really a big deal, or it's not really a form of improving the position. But instead, the best way to improve the position is very similar to the last example, and the move is b3. b3 is the best way and the most long-term square for your bishop. Because first of all, if you place your bishop on b2, you have that tremendous pressure. You're putting tremendous pressure towards black's king side, and it's not so easy for him to just simply trade off or remove and get rid of your bishop on b2, compared when it was on g5. He can simply remove the knight from f6, and white is in a situation where he has to make a decision again on how or where he will place the bishop. Okay, so after b3, black decided to improve his rook on f8, which isn't doing much. White continues with his plan, and black played bishop f8 to overprotect the g7 square and remove the tension towards the g7 square if black intends to move the knight on f6, or, well, of course, white is also threatening knight d5, so this is a prophylactic move. White just simply plays rook a d1, improving the rook. See, even at the grandmaster play, if there is no immediate way of taking advantage of your opponent's pieces, you simply involve your pieces into play, put them into play, and if your opponent makes a mistake, then it's going to be much easier for you to take advantage when your pieces are on the right squares. And white just simply improved his position very, very slowly by playing rook f e1, and black is now trying to look for a good way to liquidate and remove or somehow reduce the amount of crampedness that he has in the position. So after a6, black is intending to play b5, but it's not really a big deal, because if he plays b5 in this situation, white could possibly just capture it and then play rook c1, and then now I think black has more things to worry about. So he just simply overprotected the pawn on f3, and black played rook a d8. Okay, so which piece of ours can we improve next? Since all our pieces are well placed, it it probably looks to the naked eye that all white's pieces has been improved tremendously. But actually, white can keep improving, especially because the bishop is still blocked on b2. The next thing that we should look for is a good square for this knight, and that's exactly what he did. But first, he performed a prophylactic move by playing king h1 in case black intends to play d5 and then surprise his opponent by playing bishop c5. King h1 is just a safe move, and once again, just like what we have seen in the previous examples, if black doesn't have any good way to improve and affect the position, you can take your time to remove all the possible trouble in the future. So king h1, black played queen d7, and here it goes, knight e2, rook e6, and knight f4. Why not just play knight d5 immediately? Well, answer is, once again, if your opponent has a cramped position, it is better off not trading, because if you play knight d5, he will probably just capture, and he has one less piece that's not doing anything in the position. Well, comparing this to here, this knight on f6 doesn't have any function. So knight f4, rook e8, and white just kept improving. When all your pieces are well placed, another form of improving is by expanding. Since all your pieces, or most of your pieces, are pointing towards the king side, especially with these tremendous pressure that you have towards black's king, the best way to expand now is not towards the queen side, but to use your advantage and expand on the king side. Black plays h6, and white can start out a very, very powerful attack with all his pieces involved, which means the success rate will be much higher than if we started the attack prematurely earlier. So, okay, hopefully you guys got the answer for that one as well. And if not, then this is a new idea, although we've seen this example that sometimes to improve our piece, we can simply move a pawn and put our bishop in the longest diagonal for a short-term improvement, which proves to be very effective. And thanks for tuning in, and goodbye.